Good morning. My name is Anne-Marées. I'm doing this video because there's something important I need to talk to you about. It's major for me, and I haven't figured it out by myself. I figured it out because some people led me there. Unknowingly, it wasn't where they were going. But my appreciation of their work and the questions they ask led me to figuring out a lot about where biblical giant trees are hidden right underneath our eyes, okay? And I have found a very, very, very useful key in language to find them, to locate them, and to know exactly what happened to them. I'm super excited about that. It's been waking me up in the morning. I wake up in the morning since months now. Every morning I have to get up because ideas come, and it's about that. It's a new pop-up about trees, okay? I'll show you what I have. This is I'll back up here. So this is where I stand and look at books and take notes of my ideas, okay? And this is I speak French, so this is the main encyclopedic dictionary for people who speak French, okay? Le Petit Larousse. Rousse means redhead, okay? And the second part of this dictionary is interesting because it's after the pink pages there, it's first names, place names. So a lot of topography in here is named with toponymy, toponyms, anyway. So let's get to the point, okay? I figured out which words and which sounds designate trees and what happened to them. And I figured out as well that the languages we know today come from the languages that were there before. And we can imagine that after a deluge and a flood world, navigators would have to, like when I traveled, okay, I know French, I knew English, I knew a bit of Spanish, a few words of Arabic and this and that, And I didn't know Spanish that much when I went to Spain. And I was kind of caught using a bit of French, a bit of English, a bit of Arabic, a bit of Spanish, when I traveled and met people. Like, for example, I met this guy over there, and he was like from Morocco or something, or somewhere where they speak Arabic. And that's how we communicated. We spoke a mumbo jumbo of whatever words we knew in every language we knew, and we somehow managed to understand each other. And I think after a worldwide cataclysm, languages may have been boring for one another. Cartographers who would navigate and try to take over this world again and conquer, the new topography, the new maps, they had to use various languages to understand each other's marks on the map and, so I think that there's a lot of cross-language phenomenon going on. So I allow myself when I search to go from French to English to Spanish to Arabic in my logic, and it works. It works, and that's another level of understanding where one day I'll go and explore what happened to language, which languages were really, really spoken widely before, because I suspect that our languages traveled more than we know before we know. So I didn't get to the point yet. Let's get to the crunchy stuff, okay? These are my notes, some of my notes. I have a lot of notes that I took listening to Michelle Gibson in here. Stuff about druids, stuff about, Triple Alliance Treaty history, 13 families, the Moors. I have stuff about mushrooms. I have John Levy stuff. I have autodidactic ideas in my notes. I have a whole bunch of notebooks like that where I think and put things together that I hear, and I don't just listen to stuff. I like to make an Asperger's out of myself and make links and establish patterns, and that's what I do. And so in here, we can look at any map, and because of language, because of how they talk about trees using pieces of language, I can tell you everything that has to do on here with a giant tree and what happened to it. I can tell you which part of the tree is designated with the words, okay? Most of it is from French on these maps, even when it's in Asian countries and all that. Most of it comes from French, okay, and Latin, like Old French, the old language. Some old language was combining all of the languages we know today. So I'll tell you how, okay? For example, here I have different tree essences. We have place names according to their tree essence. For example, the oak tree, okay? It's very important. It's a very important tree. The oak, Quercus in Latin, I think, Quercus. And in French, it's chêne, like a chain, okay? It's chêne, I guess because of the roots, they behave like a chain. They tie with one another to form the ground we walk on and hold it together, right? Anyway, so the oak. Oh, and every mountain, every ancient tree, every important mountain becomes where we live after the flood. And it becomes very important. So we sanctify them. We call them saints. We call them Saint Oak, okay? There's a place called Stoke. It means Saint Oak. Oak Ridge, Oakville, Oakland, Oak Island, Oak, Lahoma, Loke, Ota. When it says Co, I think it's Oak reversed, because when you look at Cook's Island, Cook's, it's a bunch of islands of they're oak islands, So when you have many, many islands next to each other and they're oak, you can write Cook. China, I think, has to do with chêne as well. Chêne is an oak in French. And therefore, India and Indonesia also are part of that chêne, of that oak, of that China oak. Like O means water in French. So Indo, in the water part of the oak, right? Indonesia. So Oka, in Quebec, we have Oka. And that's just a few, because there's a whole bunch more. When I start looking at maps there, if you take all of the oak, like Sherbrooke, Island Brooks, this means oak as well. This I know it means company, but I also think it means oak reversed. Okay, like I said earlier, the Cook's Islands, Cook, oak, Therefore, if this means oak, there's a lot of oak in the world, okay? There's a lot of place names that end up with co, okay? Okay. And I even suspect Tokyo to have to do with that. And EO has to do with the ionization, but that's another story, right? So that's for the oak tree. Okay, we have just a list here of oaks. We have pine trees and we have fir. Fir is sapine in French. Sapin. Okay, sapin. Oh, my nails. Sapin and pin. Okay, pine is pain in French. Le pin. In Arabic, le is al. Al means the. Sapin is just another kind of tree. It's a fir tree. It's the Christmas one, right? And so, alpine, the pine, the Alps, okay, are alpine scenery. And there's Alps all over the world, not just in French. If you look it up, there's Alps in many, many countries. So there's many pine trees. Family names like Pinard, Pine Ridge, des Pins, of the pines, Pinacle, le mont Pinacle, Pinacle Mount, Pincourt, short pine, Pyrénées, okay. I'm not sure if this is pine, but I'm sure it's pire. And pire sounds like fear. It sounds like pierre. It sounds like a stone, and it sounds like burnt. So Pyrénées, aîné means igné. Igné means ignited, ignified, you know. And so all the ine and the ini has to do with the ionization that burnt everything down, okay? So Pyrénées is a chain of mountains in French. And I think they've been ionized like all the others, but they're designated as such. Excuse me. Take a bit of coffee. And we have here cedars, okay? Cypress means cedar. And there's a lot of copper in there, I think. So copper is kpr. So the island of Chypre, I don't know how you say it, Cyprus, is cedar. We have the great cedars in the western part of America, Canada and the United States. We have the great cedars, the great cypress forest. We have cypress streets. In French, we say cèdre. Cypress Hill, Chypre is the island. Les Cèdres is a region in Lebanon. Yeah, we've all heard in the Bible about those great cedars, but the previous ones were giant ones. Okay. El Cedral, that's in Spanish somewhere. I found it. I took a note of it. So there's a lot about cedars because, you know, giant cedars are a big thing in our world, and still today we can find some pretty big ones, and we call them giants, even though compared to what was there before, I don't think they were that big. So that's for those. Oh, and we have what's an if in English? I don't remember. There's a tree. There's a tree Druids talk about, the if tree. I'm not sure what it is in English. Excuse me. But in French, the if, okay, I'll figure it out later, but here it is, okay? There's a lot about that tree. Africa, whatever starts with af and f and if, has to do with that tree, okay? Africa is a rich if. There's a place called Ife. It's a city southwest of Nigeria. There's an island called If, because If is a tree, remember? It's in the Mediterranean. There's Ifni, southwest of Morocco, which is a giant tree, Morocco. Ifrika is the ancient name for Tunisia, Ifrika. So a rich if, you know. And the Eiffel name, okay, as in the Eiffel Tower, well, in Germany, there's a place called El means the, right? In Arabic and Spanish and all that. So the if el, it's a mount with wood growing on it, in Germany. 747 meters high. It's a stump, basically, an if stump. And I believe the Eiffel Tower is also a tribute to an if tree, even though they say the name of the guy who built it is Eiffel. And that's it, Africa. Well, so what happened to the trees? They were ionized because they grew too high, too close to the sun. They were ionized. And here are words that mean ionization. An ion is an electrical term, right? Positive ions, negative ions. Ionization. So what does the sun do? It reionizes. A sun ray is a sun reionizing you, okay? That's what a ray is. So it's like we are also ionized because we have a spirit, a conscience. Our presence of mind is the proof that we are ionized. We're full of life. We have the fire in our spirit, okay? And the fire in the sky is the one eye, is the sun, le soleil, okay? And what happened is those trees, as it says in the Bible, they were so high. And they were the great ladies of Jerusalem, by the way. If you look in Isaiah, in the Bible, that part of the Bible, Isaiah, look at the Day of Judgment. That's when the great reionization took place. And that's when the great ladies of Jerusalem fell, just like the Greek legend there of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun, and his tar melted, and his wings, he fell. So that's what happens when you get too close to the sun. You get ionized, and you have to go back down and start all over again. So ionization is the ion, which in French, when we want to say the ion, we say L apostrophe. L apostrophe means the ion, okay? And we use that a lot. The ion, the blah, 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 L apostrophe. So everywhere where you see the word lion, Lion King, it actually means the ion, okay? And they talk about it so much everywhere. Why? Why do we have the Lion King as a TV for kids movie? Because every time there's a big reionization event, okay, it recombines life on Earth completely. A whole new era begins. If you look on Wikipedia, reionization, it says it's a great event that recombines the whole of life on Earth. It's the ion it's the ring like who's the king, it's the ring of the ion. The ion rules, over life, over the whole of creation. So it's very important that we understand the symbolism of a lion in everything we look at from now on. Because the lion is the ion, and it ignifies, it burns, and it also brings the fire in your spirit. So it can do both, but don't get too close. And someone also suggested that we call it a reion because it's actually a reflection of our own state of mind. But anyway, that's not where I want to go into for now. So let's look at the words. Agni. Agni means fire. Igni means lit. Okay? Igni, Agni. So Agni, fire of sacrifice, god of fire in the Vedic text. Okay? Agni. Agni can be replaced by Ani, and also I will add by Igni, by Ini, by Ine, okay, and so on. If you see something like that at the end of a word, it means it's been ionized. Something happened to it, referring to the ion. The sun, okay, gamma rays, ionic energy. Also, in French, we have the word agneau, and it's also a very symbolic term, the mystical lamb. In French, it's not a lamb, it's agneau. It's a lamb, it's the word for lamb. But the reason they picked it is because of Agni, okay? The mystic fire of ionization. And when you look at that in the encyclopedic, what you see, whoops, that's my that's where I'm gonna get organic fruits and vegetables this summer. Okay, Agni, agneau, I'll find it, agneau, this here, and I'll show you the picture. Look. Yes, there's a lamb, but it's under what? It's being ionized on top of this, you know. And it's all symbolic anyway, but it mainly has to do, I think, with the sun here. The Agni is this. It's the phenomenon taking place because of the sun. Excuse me. So anyway, back to the words. Igné. Here's some equivalents of ignified, ignited in French. Igné, ignis, feu, ignited. That's all the stuff you got to be looking for if you want to know when you look at maps what happened. Okay, that's why I'm showing you that. So these are all clues. So there's even a place called Ignace. Saint Ignace means it's been burnt, okay, by it's been ignified. And there's a place called Saint Ignace, more than one, but it's usually a mount, and it's been burnt, okay, it's been ionized. And they say Ignace is a saint who suffered. Yeah, I guess he has. It's a martyr, And when they talk about Roma, they say he's from Roma. We have to remember it's not Rome, it's Roma, because a ma is a mast. A mast, it's something that can happen to a tree, when you get reduced to the state of a mast. If you're a tree, well, I don't think you'll be growing no more. So the word mast is used to refer to, the word mast is equivalent to the word mount, a mountain, okay, because they're both leftovers of giant trees. And what's left from giant trees? Well, they're stumps. But I mean, how do they refer to the fact that those stumps are ancient giant trees? Well, they call them masts, and they call them mounts, okay? So that's another topic, though, which I didn't want to talk about right away. I was still in Igné. So whatever, in French, a mountain is montagne. Agne, okay, Agne, has to do with Agni, okay? If the mount is Agne, it's been ignified, it's been burnt. Igné, Aigne, montagne, Pyrénées, Ini, those are all like, if a word finishes with that, it means it's been burnt. With that as well. N, comme Touraine in French. Touraine, the tower has been ignited, as well as Tourigny. Igny, the tower's been igny. And also Roussi, okay, Rousse, okay, that's another key. Okay, when you are roux, or rousse if you're female. Okay. This means you have red hair. But when they call a place like that, okay, it means something happened to make you red. Okay? Roussi in French means it's been made red. Okay? It's like a verb. It's like if I was using the word eat, the verb eat, to eat, it would be eaten. Okay? The e would make it eaten. Now it's redded. Okay? It's been redded. It's been made red. It's been made red, but orange kind of red, because roux is not exactly red. It's not red like that. Roux is more like an orange kind of red, okay? That's why, like a redhead, it's orange, right? And when they call a place like that, okay, it's been made red by what? Okay, by the ion. Okay, it's been cooked. Okay? So that's what I mean to say, because there's a lot of red stuff in maps as well. Redded stuff and redded places. Okay? So giant trees fell after having gone up too close to the sun. They were ionized. And then there was a deluge. And then life started again from what was left, the vestiges. A tiges, a tige, vestige, a tige means a stem in French. So what's left? The leftovers from those stems. So what's left? Well, everything's left from those trees. It's just another state of being, right? They turned into rock, into soil, into compost to make soil so that we can grow food, and they became everything we need. But that's what I wanted to say about the tree essences. There's so much more to say, though. So much more. There's so much more I want to say in a more organized way, because you guys deserve something very pleasant to listen to. What I'll do is I'll go through maps and I'll tell you what's there soon.